Hi, my name is Jeremy, and today I'm going to show you this card game from Amigo called Die Portal von Molthar. It's a German title. The game is currently, I believe, only available in Germany and maybe in the rest of Europe. It plays from 2 to 5 players in about 45 minutes, maybe a little less with experience, and it's for ages 10 and up. The game casts you as magicians trying to summon a number of creatures to help you become the most powerful magician in the land. We'll take a moment to show you how it plays, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts on it. Okay, so I've set up here the components that you get with the game, the Portal of Molthar, and this is a basic setup for the game. But just to go over the components, you get a German instruction manual, but on Amigo, the publisher's website, you can print out English instructions. You get 2 decks of cards. There are hero cards and there are pearl cards, which are used as currency to pay for the hero cards to summon them. And then each player, and it goes up to 5 player, will get one of these player mats. And they are pretty simple. They're just spaces to hold your 2 cards that you're waiting to summon. And there's on one of them, or on the reverse side of all of them, there is a first player marker. So the game is relatively simple, at least in terms of what your actions are on each round. You could do one of 4 things. You could simply pick up a pearl card and add it to your hand, and then you would replace a card from the draw deck, or you could draw from the top of the draw deck if you don't like any of the 4 that are available. Keeping in mind that your hand size is 5. If you exceed that, you'll need to discard a card out. You could take a creature to be summoned and add it to your personal display. That means only you can summon it in most cases. Each creature, you'll notice, has on it a cost. So a third action that you could do on your turn is to pay cards from your hand. So let's say I've collected these previously. This guy requires 7, 7, 8, 8. I could discard those cards, and then this character would flip over. I would get the reward that's shown on here. So for example, this will be 3 points and a diamond. A diamond is considered one of these cards, these character cards that have been flipped over. So I just add that to my tableau as well. And then that would be the end of my turn. And the 4th action that you could do on your turn is, if you do not like these cards here, you could simply wipe them out and replace them with 4 new cards. Something to note is that whenever cards are being refilled here, if ever one comes up with this symbol here, the 2 cards, these 2 character cards will get discarded out and 2 new ones will be drawn. So that's one way to keep this pool from being stagnant. So with those 4 actions, you are essentially just trying to summon creatures so that you have the most points at the end of the game. The game end triggers when somebody reaches 12 points. Then you'll finish out the current round and play 1 additional round. At the end of that round, whoever has the most points will win. In the case of the tie, whoever's collected the most diamond cards will win. These diamond cards can also be spent during the game to summon some of these creatures. So just to give you a sense of what variety is in the game, I'll show you some of the other creatures that you can summon. So for example, this character requires a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 7 card. And when you get him, you get 2 points, but you also get, because this red action means you instantaneously do it, you get 3 instant actions. This one here, hard to summon, it requires 4 8s, but it is worth 5 points. This one here, this symbol means you need 3 odd numbered cards, and you'll get a diamond and 1 point. This card here, it requires 3 cards that add up to a total of 10, exactly 3 cards. And once you summon him, you get 1 point plus the ability to use 1 card as 8 cards throughout the rest of the game. That's what the blue background means. It's an ongoing effect. This card here requires a 5, 6, 7, gives you 1 point, and instantly you get to look in an opponent's hand and take one of their pearl cards and add it to your hand. This card here requires any number of cards that add up to 10, and it increases your hand size from 5 by 1 to 6. And this card here requires a pair. That's what the equal sign there means, and it'll be worth 1 point. And then this card here it gives you no points. It requires a 1 and 2. It gives you no points, and it counts as an 8 that you could use to summon any creature. So it's as if you always have an 8 card in your hand. So there's more than that in the game, but that's just to give you some sense of the diversity in the cards that you're going to summon. And through that, you're going to be able to develop different strategies, whether you want to go for points or whether you want to go for special powers, since essentially it is a race game because the first person to 12 points wins. Okay, so I think from that rules explanation, you can see that's not a terribly complicated game, but Die Portal von Molthar is relatively fun, I think. There's a popular game in the last few years named Splendor, and I think people who enjoy that game with its card play and simple actions on each turn, leading into a cascading economic engine, will like this. This has a little bit more going on in it than Splendor, but it's not too complicated. I think the iconography is slightly confusing the first time you play, but afterward it becomes second nature. And I think that most people, like I said, who enjoyed a game like Splendor would enjoy this. It does scale pretty well from 2 to 5. I think, obviously with 2 players, it will end much more quickly because you only have to wait, you have to wait less time until it's your turn, and you have a little bit more control over the cards. With a 5-player game, I find that you have very little chance of getting a card that's in the display that comes up at the end of your turn, since 4 other people will get a turn before it's your turn. So that can be frustrating, especially because the hand size in the game is constrained to 5 cards. But other than that, the game does give you some sense of having, goals with the cards that you're trying to summon. And it does have, a little bit of strategy. Certainly for, a 30 to 45 minute card game, it's sufficient. So overall, I would recommend the game. I would hope that it would come out in the US eventually, but if not, like I said, you could print the English rules off the publisher's website, and you can import it from a website such as Amazon.de or any site that imports board games. So overall, recommend the game, and I'll just thank you for watching.